Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we've got some really cool stuff to talk about. We've got some new Kershaw and new ZT models. And we've got our friend Jim from Kershaw and ZT to actually go through the new stuff with us. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you, David?
Doing really fine. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to walk us through these models.
Yeah, no problem. We're looking forward to it.
So you sent us a few samples, and I've got a fair bit of the 2021 new unveils here in front of me. But take us through them. What do you want to talk about first?
Okay, so first, let's just get the elephant in the room in kind of the literal sense. I'd like to talk about the Strata and the Strata XL. So these are actually the same design, offered in two different sizes. And in case you hadn't noticed, they're really big. So we have the Strata XL, which is a 5.5-inch blade, and we have the Strata, which is a 4.25-inch blade. And the interesting thing about these is that they're based on, if I can move my hand a little bit, they're based on a Navaja style pattern. Mm-hmm. So that kind of classic Spanish knife, but they've got a lot of modern touches and a lot of modern flair. We're really proud of how these came about. They are a big gonzo knife, and the odd thing about these is that they're really pocketable. If you look at the overall thickness of the handles, they have a deep carry clip. They both have a really nice copper colored insert. It's an aluminum insert in the front handle and an aluminum insert in the back that acts as your over travel stop. Mm-hmm. And they're very pocketable. They may not work for everybody's jeans, but at least for the jeans I wear, even this big knife, I can get it all the way in my pocket.
It is really impressive.
Surprisingly easy to carry. They're really not, for as big as they are, they're not super thick. They have about an 1/8-inch thick blade, and especially if you go down to the 4.25-inch size, this is still a really big usable knife. But man, it's light and it's thin and it's really fun. These are both manual action. They use KVT ball bearings, and they have. Actually, these have an upgraded D2 blade. So again, we've gone up on the blade steel on these ones also, which is kind of a nice feature.
Yeah, it's got good materials, and that profile is, like I said, it's not too thick. You've got a nice high flat grind there. It's going to be a really, really nice slicing knife. And it's funny to hear you say, like, even on the regular size, you've got plenty, but the regular size is still over a 4-inch blade.
It's bigger than anything else in the catalog, even in the smaller size, which is really remarkable.
You could come up with a mini and have a 3.5-inch blade on it still.
I mean, it's unfortunate because it really is one of those knives that you just have to hold it. Mm-hmm. You have to hold it, and it's kind of like the machetes. It's got that kind of low chuckle factor. You just kind of pick it up and you go, it's just cool. I mean, it's hard to explain.
It does.
So
it does put
these
a smile
are really
on your
neat.
Face.
So we have, for the big one, we have an MSRP of $119.99, and for the little one will come in at $99.99, and that's MSRP. So obviously pricing will go down from there.
And for folks who are interested, we're going to leave links to all the stuff we talk about today down in the description, and that'll take you over to the Knife Center where you can see the actual street price that you'll be able to get your hands on these for. Yeah, no, okay. I really dig these. I dig kind of the Spanish influence there. I definitely saw that when I picked it up. I like the deep carry pocket clip, how it truly is quite deep carry. Took that kind of from the ZT707 where you mounted the clip from the inside of the handle itself.
Yeah, and we've done that on a few knives. This one is a single position clip because it follows the curvature of the handle, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So, but even, I mean, I always am the guy who's advocating because I am left-handed. I've carried these in my left pocket, and it's really not that bad. So, yeah.
So there you go.
So that is the Strata and the Strata XL.
Yeah, if you need a lot of slicing capability in your pocket, these two are definitely worth a look because you've got a ton of length and some great cutting geometry going on there. All right, what do we have next?
So next up we have the bracket. So the bracket is a cleaver style blade. It is a really fun, larger knife. We have an 8CR13 MOV blade, steel frame lock. Again, we have a cool steel insert in the front of the handle, giving it that kind of bolstered look. And we have that wide, tall, flat grind cleaver style blade. So in the vein of like a Warncliffe, that low tip really is actually very usable. And we have finger texture both here for your thumb and here for your forefinger if you really want to use that for detail work, for cutting, for carving careful lines. Just another neat piece. This one is speed safe. It is a frame lock, and it has an MSRP of $64.99.
So this is essentially kind of a scaled up reinterpretation of the static flipper that you guys have.
Correct. It really is. It's kind of in that same family as the static. We've done real well with that knife, and so we made one. This one is actually a little bigger.
Yeah, yeah. It's got that same kind of graceful flow between the handle and the blade, and that blade's just ready for big, powerful cuts.
Yeah.
Finger choil there. Even on for those with bigger fingers out there, I like that you guys put plenty of radius in that choil so that there's enough to grab onto there without kind of pinching on the edge of the heel of the edge there.
Yeah, exactly. Even with bigger hands, your fingers still fit in there pretty well. And I should also point out that jimping at the front not only works for a forefinger, but if you're choked up, it just falls right in line for your thumb. So some thought went into that one, as much as it may seem like some simple details.
Simple details are sometimes the hardest thing to get right. So you definitely got to sweat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's the bracket, and again, the MSRP is $64.99 on that one.
All right. Dig it. All right, the next one, I'll jump and hold it on camera first, I think is one of the favorites of mine of the samples that you sent over to us.
This is the 7020, and this is the Highball XL. So some of you remember we came out with a knife last year called the Highball. It was a KVT, well, it was a KVT ball bearing knife, but it had no flipper, and it has the big groove in the blade for your thumb. And so this is a slightly larger version of that knife, and that's in a similar vein, but it's a new design. So it has, again, a cool blue pivot, and it's a little hard to see on camera, but it's got a really neat machine shape to that pivot. Then on the backside, we have, again, a blue pivot screw, and we have this larger plate inlaid in the handle. And what that really, it is an over travel stop, but what it's really for is to help keep your fingers off the lock when you're opening the knife. So again, with this style, you tend to want to grip it tightly. And so when you have your fingers bridged on that little insert, I'm sorry, a little hard to see there. When you have your fingers sitting on that insert, it helps to keep from locking up the mechanism by pressing on the lock bar. And it's real smooth and slick with that KVT ball bearing.
It is. Yeah, those fullers in the blade make thumb opening very easy. And I've actually taken to doing kind of the middle finger flick with it. It's very smooth, very kind of free floating in a good way.
Someday I'll be able to do that. I can't do the flip.
I got to get a lot of wrist action into it. I can't do the like ping that some people are really good at.
I'll have to ask my sales guys. They've got that mastered. I unfortunately don't.
Deep carry pocket clip is reversible on this one, which I like.
It is, yeah. And this has a D2 blade as well. So pardon this one. This one I grabbed a prototype for this video, but these will have a D2 blade as well, which is a nice upgrade. And then, yes, reversible deep carry pocket clip. Small little backspacer in there. And an MSRP of $84.99. So again, really for D2 and for this kind of construction and how smooth it is, really not a terrible price.
Yeah. And again, just like those first knives, some good geometry going on here. Nice high flat grind. Good for cutting. Good for slicing.
Yeah. And that's you may notice that's been kind of a theme for us. We've really tried to drag those grind panels up higher in the last few years, because there have been a couple knives that I've tried out where I've gone, it's a great knife, but once you sharpen it a few times, you've got this real thick blade. And so we've really been focusing on usability and particularly slicing performance on a lot of these.
Absolutely.
So
very nice. All right, next up,
I'm going to kind of introduce these as a pair. These are something that may look familiar. I'm just going to address it up front. This is the Collateral and the Turismo. The Turismo is essentially as we introduced it. The Collateral has changed a little bit, but we introduced these a few years ago at SHOT Show, and they kind of disappeared. And I'll be honest with you, this is one where we had some issues with the factory. They're having a hard time producing them as they were. And so we ended up making some changes to them, and it was a bit of a long road, but we finally brought them out. I'm still really happy with these designs. So if we start with the 5500, the Turismo, this is a really nice little knife. It's got that leaf-shaped blade, very smooth profile. We have steel handles. And what I like about these is that they have this real small hidden flipper. So we've carved away a bit of the handle to make that flipper nice and accessible, and we've put some real sharp jimping on it. And so it actually makes for, even though it's small, it makes it a really usable flipper. This one has a full width flat grind. So again, kind of in that theme that we talked about, we have the slot in the blade, we have the groove, we have a reversible deep carry pocket clip, black oxide handles, and again, that flipper that hides in the blade when we're done.
It does. It has a nice clean profile when it's closed up, and nice clean profile when it's open as well, I think.
Yeah. So this one is going to be 8CR13 MOV. This one's a little more budget friendly. And then,
well, one of the things I like about this is a speed safe knife as well. But one of the things I like here is there's the real fine cutout for that lock bar that you've achieved on this one. I think is really nice.
Yeah, and that's something that I really wanted to strive for on these particular ones when we were working on them. Was, again, I like that feature a lot when you can have a real thin lock bar cutout. It doesn't work for everything, but for these ones, we felt like that was important.
It just feels a little bit nicer in a way. Nice.
And so then the big brother here is the 5500, and so that's the Collateral. And this has a real radical kind of design. It sweeps away. We have this exposed backspacer. You can put a lanyard loop through there. It's a bit of an unusual location. It's more of a design feature than a lanyard loop, but it could be done. We have a fun carbon fiber inlay. We have a steel back handle, and again, we maintain that real thin lock bar cutout. We have a reversible pocket clip. This one's not deep carry, just by nature of the knife. And then we have a new blade profile. And compared to the old one, I actually am really fond of this profile. We maintained that nice satin finish, and we have a nice satin finish with the sanded flats. So it has a real clean, beautiful look to it. But this D2 blade is a new shape, and it's a little more aggressive and a little more sweeping, and I'm real happy with it. Again, so just a cool knife with an upgraded D2 blade, speed safe assisted opening on both of these, and the hidden flippers where they're relatively small, and you open up the knife, and you just got all that real estate to hold on to. Nice groove here for your thumb on the top. And this one has an MSRP of $79.99. So again, for a D2 blade, really aggressively priced, trying to get that out to you for a decent price.
Well, I think especially that 5500 it has use the word radical, I think, but it's still going to be quite a usable shape that's going on here. Definitely up for some real aggressive cuts. You could probably technically call it a drop point, but I think in use, this looks like it might feel a little bit more like a modified Wharncliffe in a way.
Yeah, really, when you look at it, it does curve upward, but it's not drastic. It's definitely not Persian in nature by any means.
For sure.
It's relatively low.
Yeah, that's going to be great utility shape with just some kind of spiced up style to go along with it. Cool.
So those will be the drop things.
Jim's dropping knives over there. It's okay.
Those will be the Collateral and the Turismo.
Very nice. Very nice.
So next up, we have another big, beefy speed safe knife. This is the 2061. This is the Cannonball. Kind of an appropriate name. It's kind of a big bruiser. So we have a D2 blade with a black wash finish. Nice high flat grind. Kind of a cool profile. A little bit of a different shape to it. I would call this a drop point, but it's got a bit of a modification to the tip there. We have steel handles, again, with cool texturing on the back end and cool black wash steel inlay on the front. We have backspacer, reversible deep carry pocket clip, and this is kind of a cool little compact pocket clip. So for those who like to be a little more discreet, it's kind of a nice, it's got plenty of grip to it, but it's also a real discreet little pocket clip. Frame lock design, and again, a little bit of a textured pad for your finger here. Nice thumb jimping on the top. And as I said before, D2 steel blade. And so this one has an MSRP of $74.99. Again, just a slightly upgraded model with that D2 steel.
Yeah, great. It's a blade shape that speaks to me. I'm a drop point fan in general. And again, excellent cutting geometry going on with the high flat there. I love it. And of course, being D2, that black wash finish for folks out there know D2 is a semi-stainless. That black stone wash is essentially a forced patina already, so that's going to help a little bit with corrosion resistance.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like the dark black wash on this one. Sometimes they come out a little lighter. This really turned out nicely.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a really nice blade shape to my eye.
So next up, another black wash option. This is the 2062. This is the Analyst. A little bit of a Jack Ryan reference there.
I was wondering about that.
The Analyst. But it's got that cool military look to it. This one is really quite light, actually. We have molded scales on this, so we have glass-filled nylon with a G10 texture on them, and again, reversible deep carry pocket clip. We had a couple of years where we kind of got away from deep carry, and it's come back. We've definitely come back in that direction. We had some people comment, "Hey, could you bring back some more of the deep carry clips?" So again, you'll see a lot of that this year.
And this one actually, the one I'm holding here, looks like it's actually a 4-position clip. Is that just mine, or is that?
No, it is. It is a 4-position
Nice.
clip. I missed that. I missed that, and thank you for pointing it out. So again, that's something we don't do on a lot of knives anymore, and it's almost a bit of a throwback. So yeah, it's nice to have that 4-position. If you like tip down carry, this one's a good one for you. It also has a partially serrated blade, again, which we don't do as many of anymore, so it's a good option for that. Real nice thumb jimping on that blade. True Tonto style with the thicker blade with the proper flat grinds. And yeah, just a neat little knife with an MSRP of $49.99. So that is the Analyst.
Yeah, and I'll emphasize again just the cutting capabilities here. You say, thicker at the tip, a bit stronger, but you still didn't go overbuilt. Like you kept it very usable day to day and very slicey in the overall usage, it looks like. And if you couldn't tell, that's complimentary, not meant as a dig at all.
Oh, no, of course. No, I understand. There's a place for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a place for 1/4-inch blades, and I'm not going to knock anybody who makes 1/4-inch and 3/16 inch blades. And a lot of our knives are they're EDC friendly. So there's something you want to carry every day, you want to use on your basic kind of jobs, and you don't always need that kind of blade. So for most of the time, these will be just fine.
Yeah, no, I dig it.
We're not prying doors open here.
I hope not.
So in this case, this will work really well for the kind of work that the average person will do with it.
For sure.
I don't think that's anything to apologize for.
Absolutely. So speaking of fun little EDC friendly designs,
this one makes me smile, and I really like this little knife, and I just realized the one I have is all tied up.
Well, here I got one I can hold up in the meantime.
I've got to release mine here from the neck strap. There we go.
The purgatory of its sheath.
So this is the brace, and this is our new little neck knife. It's a lot of fun. It's super light. One of our R&D machinists pointed out that he's got a buddy who's a serious backpacker, and that he just cares about every ounce.
Yeah. And
it was just funny he mentioned that, because well, we've got the knife for him right now, and I pulled this out because this is super, super light. And I wish I had a weight number in front of me, but it's a couple of ounces. I mean, it's very light. We'll make sure
to weigh it after we're done the video. I'll have our editor put a little graphic up or something with the weight.
That would be great. I'd appreciate that, because it's a nice little knife. It's a 3-finger grip. It's really quite comfortable to use. And again, we have that thoughtfully placed finger jimping right here. So your thumb, when you grab it, it just kind of fits right in there. And you can see it's just a little baby fella, but it does most of what you need to do. In camp, it'll cut rope, it'll cut a little bit of meat or something, whatever you happen to be working with. You could carve a stick. We have glass-filled nylon scales that are screwed on, and they have a G10 texture to give it some grip. We have a glass-filled nylon sheath. And the neat thing about this sheath is that it's perfectly reversible. So I've had a few of these in the past where I'll admit, in the past, I've designed things where the sheath wasn't reversible. And when you can, it's such a handy feature. You never have to think about it.
It is very nice. Yeah.
It doesn't matter are you left-handed or right-handed. You're putting it in awkwardly. It just goes in the sheath either way. Actually, that's something that the sales team asked for specifically. I've got to give them credit there to just make it reversible. Cool.
I like the
And
sheath
I'm
too.
glad they did, because it really makes a big difference on
Oh,
this.
for sure. I like also
So
that, of course, EDC fixed blades I think are getting a little more credit these days, and obviously it's set up for neck carry, but with the holes and slots here on the side, it's going to fit a lot of aftermarket stuff. If you wanted to pocket carry this or put like a tech lock or something like that on it, you should be able to do
absolutely.
that, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, so it's just that handy little size. It is, I'm sorry, it is escaping me. This is either 3CR13 or 8CR13. We'll have to add that up in the notes when we get done.
All right, sounds
But it
good.
is a really handy size, and just an MSRP of $34.99, so very reasonable for this knife.
For sure. And the edges of it are all nice and comfortable. I like that you guys either crowned or chamfered all the edges of the steel itself. So there's no real hot spots to speak of when you're gripping it and putting it to work.
Yeah, and that's something that we've come to care a lot about. Is I know it costs a little more to put that little bit of a chamfer around the edges, but it feels so good, especially when you tumble it nicely. It just, like you said, you're never going to really hurt yourself on this.
Which that's kind of
So.
what you want.
I think most of us aren't looking to get hurt.
No, I certainly am not.
So that's the brace. It comes with a sheath. It comes with a cord. And the cord has a little adjuster. So again, depending on your size, it's real easy to just make it bigger or smaller. If you want to carry it higher, lower. Some people put these, I mean, I'm speaking to the obvious stuff, but some people will actually put these around their neck and tuck them inside a shirt,
mm-hmm.
and carry it as a self-defense tool even. I mean, there's lots of different uses for these outside of just the outdoors and EDC category.
For sure. All right, well, that's the actual end of the Kershaw samples that I've got on the table in front of me. But you've actually got a couple more you wanted to show us real quick also. Is that correct?
I do, yeah. So I've got a few more really cool items that just didn't make it in your sample kit. So I apologize for that, but I'll make sure that we can get a good look at them here from my end. So first up, we have the Nacho. Kind of a cute name for a cute little tool. So this is really a real simple one. This is a bottle opener keychain. It doesn't really have a whole lot of other functions. It's just a simple little tool. You've got a place for your
it's
keys
a rather
to go through.
noble function if that's going to be the only function.
I think it's, for how inexpensive it is and for how small it is and how light it is, it doesn't have to do a lot more. I mean, we've made other keychain tools, we made other keychain knives, and I'll be honest with you, like for me personally, I don't like a lot of stuff on my keys, and putting a whole knife on my keychain isn't my thing. So we try to offer something for everybody, and this is a bit more of a minimalist take. It's something that you don't need all the time, but when you need it, nothing else will do, and that's a bottle opener. So we have a real functional, nice little bottle opener. We actually have spent a fair amount of time testing this, because I've played with plenty of bottle openers that, you take a couple of tries to get the cap off, and so we really tried to make this one just right. It has a steel construction with a molded overlay to kind of make it a little less rattly on your keys.
Mm-hmm.
And that molded overlay has G10 texture on it and the Kershaw logoing, and that's about it. And it's an MSRP of $7.99, and it's just a fun little tool. Is that coming in clear for you, or is that still kind of blurry?
It looks pretty good from here.
I'm trying to get a decent shot of it, but it doesn't seem to be. There we go. So that's the Nacho. So,
well, I
like
appreciate
nachos, it's kind of for parties.
I appreciate that it's been thoroughly tested. I'm sure that was no fun at all for you guys.
It was a difficult thing, but someone had to do it. So, moving on. This is actually a really cool one. I'm super excited about this one. So this is the Endgame. Another KVT ball bearing knife. We have, again, a D2 blade, so it's a little upgraded. Steel scales. And we have cool aluminum inlays in the front with a bronze finish. And we have a glass-filled nylon inlay filling in here with a G10 texture on it. And this goes through to the liner underneath. We have a reversible deep carry pocket clip. We have a over travel stop that, again, it kind of mirrors what we're doing on the front side.
Mm-hmm.
And a nice high flat grind on that D2 blade. And it's just comfortable. It's about the right size. It's not too thick. And just a really fun design. It's got a deep carry pocket clip. So real easy to carry. And again, even for the lefties, this can be reversed. And And yeah, just a nice, usable, easy flipping knife.
Yeah, it's another nice looking blade shape too. That speaks to me.
Yeah, no, I really like this pattern. I think it's going to do well for us this year. And I wish I had more to say about it. It's 99.99, but it's a real clean EDC carry knife. And again, that tip isn't super high, so it'll be good for lots of different things, but you have enough curvature to have a little bit of belly, depending what you want to do with it. So that's the Endgame, 99.99 with D2.
Yeah, what it reminds me a little bit of, that blade shape, not one for one obviously, but it reminds me just a little bit of the blade on the bare knuckle.
Yeah, it does have a bit of that feel. It's got that tip flowing down toward the edge, and that I find that to be a very usable blade shape. So
Absolutely. Yeah, very nice.
So that actually is a pretty cool piece. Yeah. So now moving away from that, we have something a little different. So this is the platform. The platform is actually a manual. I've been calling it a slip joint. It is a dual ball bearing liner kind of knife, but it is a non-locking piece. So it has the dual ball bearing detent springs in it with this nice long groove at the top, kind of like we've done on some of our traditional knives, but again, a very non-traditional design. This is a real neat piece. It's got kind of I'd call that a modified Wharncliffe.
Looks a
or
little
modified
Wharncliffe-y.
sheep's foot.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a curvature to the edge, but it's got a real low tip to it. So again, real nice for slicing and detail work, for fine kind of stuff you might do. And then the big secret about this knife is on the back. So the back handle is a totally different tool. So we have a built-in fingernail clipper. Now that clipper, now again, fingernail clipper, it does have a file, but the neat thing about this is this works for all kinds of stuff. So this will work on a lot of fishermen use these for fishing line. It works on small bits of rope, those plastic hang tags that you get on every bit of clothing or every kid's toy.
Yep.
It's just big enough that you could probably make this work on zip ties. So it's actually a
gonna be my
really
next question.
handy, powerful little nipper. So I don't want people to pigeonhole this and think, oh, it's just for manicures. It's really not just for cutting your fingernails. Although I will say, as I get older, with the kind of work I end up doing, working on a car and stuff, I really have to keep my fingernails trimmed short or I bend them back and do things. So this is really handy. But man, I'm excited about the idea of being able to use this. I mean, we've got Christmas coming, and I'm going to have I have 3 children. I'm going to have a lot of little plastic cables holding the doll on the cardboard, and just having something like this where sometimes the knife blade, I'll be honest, like even just for things like that, sometimes the knife blade's a bit much. You're trying to get it in there without damaging the American Girl or the troll or whatever it is you're trying to take off.
Because the last thing you want on Christmas morning is
I have
tears.
a daughter. And so that little nipper is actually a really handy thing. And I think I'm going to probably end up using that on Christmas morning, of all things, just to clip little plastic ties. Or if you get a brand new shirt and you want to take that little tag off, you find yourself yanking and sometimes it comes through the fabric, just use this to snip it. It's real easy.
Of course, you just let the folks at home kind of behind the curtain a little bit. Yes, we are filming this before Christmas, even though it's after that when you guys are actually seeing this video.
Oh, no, I did it again. I'm sorry.
No, it's a great use. They can pick it up for next year.
Well, if you'd like to reshoot that, we can.
No. That's staying in.
So that is the platform, and that has an MSRP of $59.99.
Very cool. No, I like that, and I like the fact that it appears to be so just kind of buried in that handle. It's like you get that extra utility without it taking up any extra space.
It really is. It's not the thinnest knife we make, but it's really not super thick either. It's comfortable size. I should point out there's no pocket clip. So like a traditional, this will drop to the bottom of your pocket, and that's just the way it is. So it's a different kind of piece, and it's really fun.
Nice.
Cool. So that's the platform. Next up, I'm going to show you one more speed safe. This is what we call our starter series. So it's a little more economical. So for this one, this is called the Tremelo. It's part of our starter series, I should say. So we have a slight recurve to the blade. We have a hollow grind. Kind of a fun, cool design. Glass-filled nylon scales with a G10 texture, and we have cool steel inlays to give it a kind of a bold appearance. We have a reversible deep carry pocket clip, and this one kind of does go in under the scale, so it's real discreet. You don't really see it on the front side. Speed safe assisted opening. We have liner lock construction, and on this one, we have an MSRP of $34.99, so super affordable. It's a full-size knife. It fits the hand. You get all 4 fingers on it, even with larger hands. And it's comfortable. And again, we've got some thumb texture that's nice and grippy. And yeah, just a good EDC carry, especially if you're on a budget. This is a really good option.
Very nice. Good looking blade shape there. Just that hint of recurve. I like it.
Yeah, we haven't done a lot of that in a while, so it feels kind of different for us.
Nice.
So these last two are also kind of fun. There's been some different things this year. So this one is called the Capsule, and it has that kind of, it almost looks like a little space pod, you know, something out of something out of a movie. But this was actually a cool collaboration piece that we've got to do this year with Jens Anso. So this is actually a manual out the front. So it's kind of like a utility knife in that regard. You press down the button and it slides in and out. It's nice and smooth. And it locks open and it locks closed. We don't have like a halfway position. We played with that and we found it was kind of like, gave it a lot of hitch at its giddy up. You kind of end up opening it like that. So we preferred the smooth action of just opening it up. And it's a little 2-inch blade. It's real comfortable to carry. It's got a lanyard loop on here or a keychain loop if you want to carry it that way. It is a deep carry pocket clip that's reversible. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. It is a single position deep carry clip, which, and I'll be honest with you, this is one of those knives where even as a left-handed person, you hold it one way. There isn't, you don't really reverse it in your hand. So the clip orientation isn't really that relevant, regardless of which way you're holding it. You know, the right-handed people get to have it a little more properly oriented in their hand, but as a lefty, this doesn't bother me at all. It's not any big deal to just roll it over. It's real easy to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just comfortable. You know, it's kind of fidget worthy. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is one of those ones I find myself sitting at my desk playing with it.
Right.
And I haven't done that in a while. I've been in this industry long enough that I don't spend my whole day snapping knives anymore. It's getting kind of boring. And this one's kind of captured me. It's just really fun. And it's really, you know, another one that it's really safe. Your finger's never in the path of the blade. I mean, you don't want to put your hand in front of it, but it's just a really safe, easy to use. You just wrap your whole hand around it and you keep a good grip on it.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun little knife. It locks nice and sturdy. And it's really quite affordable. This one has an MSRP of $49.99. And it's just a neat little piece.
So
8CR13 blade, 2 inches, not even quite 2 inches. It's a little shorter. And deep carry pocket clip, and just a fun, unique new design for this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that in the near future. I kind of like that.
Yeah, something different.
Cool.
And then last but certainly not least, we have the Drivetrain. So we already have we offer a slightly less expensive rescue knife called the Barrage. And this is a little more of an upmarket version. And I really like this knife. And I'll explain to you why. So this is an assisted opening blade. We have a liner lock construction. We have glass-filled nylon scales with G10 texturing. So something we do a fair amount of and we really like. Nice and easy to open. Big, comfortable blade. Full grip in your hands. So for a rescue knife, I really don't feel like that's something that should be too small. You really want to get a secure grip on it.
Mm-hmm.
But what the big feature about this knife, we actually have a single position pocket clip because we have this great new seatbelt cutter on the front. And the thing that I love about this knife is that we played with a lot of different seatbelt cutters. We've seen them, we've designed them where they come all the way out. They rotate 180 degrees and there's a fair amount of motion. There's a whole bunch of ways of doing this. And I'm not knocking any of them, but what I'm really proud of on this one is that we have one where it's just that much motion. So in an emergency, if you're in a bad situation and you're kind of fumbling, there's really nothing to it. You have a big opening in the handle for your thumb to fit into, and That's it.
Just
That's
pops
all the
right out.
motion you need. It's about 15, 20 degrees of rotation, and you have your edge right there. And then you can run your seat belt or whatever it is you need to cut along the back of the handle, and it works really nicely. So it's real different in that it doesn't open. Our other one opens 180 degrees.
Sure.
And it works, but I really like this new style. I think this is a really nice way of going about it, where that's all it takes. One short click and you're there and you're locked into place, and you have a long safe edge here to really guide you in.
Mm-hmm.
So we really lengthen that a lot, partially to keep your fingers out of the blade when it's closed, but also because it really gives you a long lead in. You have all this to force the material of the seatbelt down into that cutting edge.
Right.
And we really spent a lot of time perfecting this, just testing it on seatbelts. We actually did quite a bit of testing to make sure that this one was going to work as advertised, because we really felt that was important. So,
and you said it locks open. Is that a liner lock on there?
It is. It's a liner lock underneath. So in the same note, you just press it with your thumb and it unlocks, and it's real easy to do. So just a neat little piece. Yeah. So this is called the Drivetrain.
I think folks, even if they're not looking for a rescue knife, that kind of hook, great for opening up those annoying plastic clam packs that you pick off of a shelf at the store.
Yeah.
Just zip right along the side of that.
Again, even like clothing tags and rope, string, and because you force it into that little curve and it works really well. If you had something with a piece of rope on it, you just pull through it. It's really nice.
And then glass breaker there on the end.
I'm sorry?
Is that a glass breaker on the end?
I'm sorry. And of course I forgot that it has a carbide glass breaker on the end.
Very nice.
So this has an MSRP of $79.99, so a few bucks more than the other model, but it's got these great new features, and we have a D2 blade as well, which is a nice upgrade on this model.
Very nice.
So that is the Drivetrain.
Very cool.
And so that's what I have this year for the Kershaw line. So some fun new stuff.
Awesome. So that's, like you said, that's that. We also have, I think, a couple of ZTs to show as well.
I do. So we'll start with the most familiar one. So that is the 0308, but we have a new version. This is the 0308 BLK-TS. So
the tiger
it has
stripe is back.
Black handle, black wash hardware. We have a black DLC back handle, and then again the big feature is that we have this black wash tiger stripe blade, which is kind of a different look for us. We've generally done it with a solid black finish. And so in this case, this is a black washed finish with the tiger stripe, and it's got a really cool new look to it. It's a bit more gray. It's not quite as dark, and it's just a cool new finish for this knife. So the 308 has actually done really well for us, and we felt like kind of giving another nod to the 0300 series with the tiger stripe finish and the all blacked out. We figured that was kind of a no-brainer, that a lot of people would like this particular look. It's been popular in the past, and so we felt like it was appropriate to introduce it on the 308.
Definitely.
So other than that, same great features of the original knife. It's a 20 CV blade. It has a fleck of dust on it that was looking like a chip. 20 CV blade, black G10 scale, black DLC coating on the titanium back handle, and that same easy to adjust pivot that you can do with a 1/2-inch box wrench. So really cool piece. And that has an MSRP of $400. So that is the 0308 BLK-TS.
Fantastic.
So then next up, which one do you want to talk about first, David?
So I've got one prototype here on the table, and it is in prototype stage, but I guess we might as well talk about that, yeah?
Okay. So this is the 0762. And this one, again, as David said, this is a prototype, so I'll tell you what things are going to change about it. So you may recognize this profile. This is actually one that we've used in the past as an exclusive, and we really liked the shape, and we felt like it was worthy of being a ZT, and so we changed it up a lot. So we have a 20 CV blade, and again, I'm just going to have to clarify everything here. The final blade finish will be a two-tone satin and stonewash. So we'll have that beautifully polished satin grind, and we'll have stonewash on the flat. So this is a full stonewash blade you're seeing here on the prototype. Pivot hardware will look the same, but it'll be silver. And then we will have black G10 instead of this black and white two-tone G10 because we really feel like there's a lot of cool machining on these handles. It's displayed a lot better. I think yours has a red and black G10, which is a little more subtle.
It looks like I've got a red and black carbon fiber on the
Carbon
back of this
fiber, excuse
prototype.
me. Did I say G10? I'm sorry. This is red. This is black and white carbon fiber, and it will be solid black carbon fiber. So the one you have looks a little closer to what we're going to do in the final form.
On the front side, at least.
So we have a subframe lock on the back, a titanium subframe lock. We have a bent titanium clip. These will both have a blue finish like this. A little darker, but it'll be a blue finish.
It's going to be a nice accent.
Side, I'm trying to get this to focus well because we have, it's a little hard to see, but you actually have two layers in here. You have two liners. The top liner is titanium, and that's for appearance. So that's also going to be that nice deep blue. And then underneath that, we have our tuned detent system. So again, we have a liner in the front handle that creates detent on the front of the blade, which means that when you squeeze on this detent bar, you're not going to lock the knife up. It's really nice to have that feature. So it makes it open real easily, even if you have your fingers on the bar. And in this case, we kind of incorporated into the design so you can see those bars kind of laying over each other and creating kind of an interlaced pattern. We have a reversible pocket clip, KVT ball bearing washers, and this knife also has an MSRP of $400. So kind of a flagship knife.
Yeah. No, I like the shape. What's the first thing I noticed when picking it up is how lightweight this is. We'll make sure to find a weight and pop that up on the screen as well. But I mean, that's the advantage of the subframe lock is you can use carbon fiber, which of course weighs next to nothing, on both sides of the knife like that.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this construction is it just makes it so easy to carry and so comfortable. And it even despite of the handle being that light, it balances really nicely. So I'm about to drop this on the laptop, but hopefully we get the idea.
I like that a lot. That's very nice.
So yeah, fun knife, full sized, again, nice and easy to carry, very comfortable, and an MSRP of $400.
Very cool.
ZT0762.
Very cool.
So, and then last but finally not least, this one is based on a knife that some of you may remember. This is the model 0990. And so this is based on our 999, which was an award-winning knife at Blade Show. I think it won American-Made Knife of the Year. And it was kind of a radical design for us. And it featured a lot of big openings and spaces, but the biggest thing was that it featured this flying bridge that the stop pin resides in, and the flipper actually floats right through that. Mm-hmm. So in this case, instead of building out of a solid piece of titanium, we've chosen to build this with two steel liners, and they're relatively thin. These are just a 1/16 of an inch. And so I'm going to address this right up front. I understand a lot of people may ask us, why are those liners steel? Why are they not titanium? And the answer is that to keep this knife so slim and so easy to carry, this is actually a really nice size. It's a 3 1/4 inch blade. It's very comfortable. It's a lot smaller than the original 999 was. And we really wanted it to be slim. And so we've actually done everything we can to keep some of those features. We still have the overlay on the carbon fiber. So we have a carbon fiber handle with a steel overlay. It's real thin, and it bolts on the front and the back. And then we have these two liners with a back spacer, and that back spacer will have the zero tolerance logo molded into it. So it's a really neat piece. Again, based on the 999, but attempting to make it a lot more affordable and easier to carry around. The original 999 was a big knife. It was a 3 3/4. It was a 3.75 inch blade. So we've even also narrowed the knife out a little bit in keeping with the times. The whole thing is really a lot slimmer, and it's just comfortable, easy to carry. We have carbon fiber scales, so black carbon fiber, reversible deep carry pocket clip. It's a new design on that one, and yeah, just a really neat, comfortable, EDC friendly knife, much like the 0770 was to the 777. This is like the 999, but comfortable, cheaper, easier to carry.
Very cool. I like that.
And so, go ahead.
I said I like that. MSRP on that one?
MSRP will be $275 on this one.
Oh, nice. So I think you were telling me earlier, just to clarify in case folks missed it, the reason those went to steel is to get it as slim as you wanted. If you'd made them out of titanium, you just wouldn't have had the strength you needed on those thin pieces.
Yeah, so making these out of titanium at this thickness, it allowed too much flex. And so we decided that we wanted to keep this kind of construction. We didn't want to have to add another bridge in here or anything like that. To make it out of titanium, we would have had to make some compromises, and we felt like making it out of steel kept the strength and the durability that this knife needed to be strong and usable and comfortable. And so we ended up opting to make it out of steel.
Very cool.
And I think it's important to note that steel isn't cheap. It doesn't have to be cheap. We don't have to make everything out of titanium. In this case, we used the material that made the most sense for the knife, and I hope people can register that and understand, because it's really, this has been one of my favorites as we built these prototypes. I kind of snuck one off and carried it around for a while, and it's really nice to use. It's really comfortable to carry. It's really not very heavy. So we'll work on getting you a weight on that as well. And it's just fun to be able to take something that looks so much like the original Ward knife, but have it with you every day and have it be something that's replaceable. And you don't mind using it and cutting it and abusing it, because it's just made for that. It's made for being an EDC.
Excellent.
So that is the 0990.
Awesome. And I think that brings us to the end, does it not?
It does, yeah.
Well, Jim, I really appreciate you taking the time, like I said, to show us these things. A lot of cool stuff. I'm really liking especially some of the things on the table here in front of me.
Well, thank you, David. We appreciate it. It's been a challenging year for everybody, but we're happy to be able to have some cool new stuff to show you.
Fantastic. All right, folks watching at home, thanks for sticking around. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives or check out anything in further detail, we will leave links in the description to take you over to the KnifeCenter, and you can find everything you need right there. Thanks so much, guys, and Jim, thank you so much.